I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Make it a roll.
President Ryan,
Here.
Director Basket,
Here.
Director Slayton,
Here.
Director Adams,
Here.
Director Brown.
Okay, moving on to item number 1, minutes of the regular meeting held December 14th, 2023. I make the motion to be approved.
I have a question in a minute before they're voted on. You made a statement in the meeting of the minutes that I had mistreated staff. I'm gonna ask right now questions. Veronica, have I ever mistreated you?
Director Vasquez, this is not an agendized item for you to question the staff. This is just on for the review and approval.
Well-
It says written, if there's something in the minutes that you think are incorrect, that you would like, as far as a reflection of statement, this will be a time to raise that, but it's not appropriate to use this as time to just question
Well-
staff.
The statement was made in the minutes that's wrong. And so I'm challenging that statement, a verification of the people in this room. Now, if it's not permitted and that's inappropriate, and I trust your judgment on a lot of rules, not all, but on these, I'd just like to make a comment that your statement that I had mistreated somebody in your staff is inaccurate, and I'd like to have it corrected. So I stand with that, and I'll not vote for the removal, for the approval of these minutes until that's corrected.
So we have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item number 2, committee reports.
No, there was one meeting of, be your business park / real estate committee, that met on the 4th, nothing specific to report, discussed real estate type issues.
Moving on to item number 3, general manager's report.
I just wanted to let you know that the, taxiway rehab project is essentially completed. There's some, minor, punch list items that are being addressed. And the, administrative process of closing it out is in process. If you recall, your board approved some emergency work under that same contract that's ongoing. President, Moreno will recall we had the opportunity to walk with our engineering consultant we actually walked the runway and rethinking some things we could do to address our runway issues, runway 30 touchdown point. From that, the original contract included rubber removal. It suggested we not do the rubber removal, just let it stay in place and add a slurry, specific type of slurry seal that wasn't in the original contract. So I anticipate at your next meeting, we'll be asking for a change order. So hopefully we'll see cost savings and not doing rubber removal and the cost adding to do a slurry, specific type of slurry seal that we hope will rest in the piece, anticipating about 70 feet wide on center line, about 2,000 feet focused on the touchdown point of the runway where we're seeing the most wear, and literally a asphalt band-aid. And so we'll hopefully be back to you on the 25th with that. We've submitted 2 pre-applications to the FAA for phase 2 of the taxiway rehab. So additional work that essentially, if you think about the work we just completed on the parallel and the JIT and connecting taxiways, it's simply a continuance to the north of that we're asking. We're doing pre-application with the hope that we're going to get back in good graces with the FAA for AIP funding and be able to secure that project. But we've also submitted a pre-app for the rehabilitation of runway 1230. So hopefully it's going to take several years. That will be ultimately the fix to address the runway hasn't been had in real rehabilitation over 30 years. So it's very much due. So then we have some additional AIP, FAA work where we have to submit our actual airport capital improvement plan by the end of this month that we're working on. I had the opportunity to attend the Soft Tech CEO Roundtable this morning. I didn't really know what I was getting involved with. Great group of people. I actually really appreciate there's people out like that groups like this that I'm welcome to attend, and got to meet some great folks in the region. I totally didn't anticipate that I'd have the opportunity to do that. So I really appreciate that opportunity. I'm guessing that two of our board members will talk about this, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but we had a fantastic meeting and tour on the 4th with representatives from the school district and county education office, talking about whether there's opportunity to do some kind of aviation related training, both at the high school level and junior college, Hancock. And it's time well spent, and I'll let you all speak about it later because I don't want to steal your thunder. One thing I think I'm really happy that we can look forward to is at the next meeting, Plains of Fame is planning to attend and give us a debrief of the last Airfest and a update on the planning for the next one. So looking forward to that, and an update on their progress with their development. So any day now, we should probably see some steel landing on the apron over by where their leasehold is. So they're actually, things are moving forward. So I won't steal Jane's thunder. You can hear from her at the next one. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments before we move on? Moving on to item 4, Manager of Finance and Administration report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I provided the command register for your review and approval.
I make a motion to approve as written.
Second. We have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item number 5, public session. Oh, I'm sorry, was that?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Moving on to item number 5, public session. Statements from the floor will be heard during public session. Request to speak forms are provided for those wishing to address the board. After completing the form, please give it to the clerk. Requests requiring board action will be referred to staff and brought on the next appropriate agenda. Members of the public are cordially invited to speak on agenda items as they occur. Staff reports covering agenda items are available for review in the offices of the general manager on the Tuesday prior to each meeting. The board will establish a time limit for receipt of testimony, in this case, 3 minutes. The board reserves the right to establish further time limits for receipt of testimony. That being said, first up, we have Suzanne Bryant.
Good evening, board. My name is Susan Bryant. I live at 307 Crest Lane. I've been there about 20 years. It's a working class neighborhood that's been segregated up until about 2 years ago. The operations here at the airport drastically changed by soliciting and bringing in military aircraft to fly over the areas. I've been coming to these meetings for a year. Hoping to find a way to get you to be able to hear how these changes have affected our neighborhood. I've emailed documentation and filed online complaints with the airport and the FAA. When Director Clayton came on board, I emailed him and asked him to meet with me and a couple pilots so we could talk about some issues and ideas. I got no response then or any responses subsequently. David Basket answered my email and he met with me and we might not agree on everything, but he's always respectful. Director Moreno answered my email in September, and it was a reasonable response, and I was grateful. However, it fell apart when I questioned bringing F-35s into the airport. I do want to say that this airport is designated by SBK as an urban airport, not a military airport. And yet, this airport, through FBO, solicits and encourages military bases to send their aircraft to practice from their homes. For example, here's a few. Osprey from Narrowland and Rock Island have flown repeatedly over our homes and sometimes from 500 feet over my house. Military recently grounded it with abysmal safety record and deaths from crashes. F-18 crashes occur every year. In 2022, at Moore, a pilot crashed and died. In 2023, at Miramar, a pilot crashed and died. Pilots from Moore and Miramar have been solicited to train over our houses. F-35, in 2023, this plane, a pilot ejected, the plane went on autopilot, and the military didn't even know where it was till after it crashes. So they don't have a good record. Some people that I know are afraid to speak. They're afraid of retaliation. And I've been warned by a number of people to be very careful what they say. But I can't ignore the fact that when something goes wrong with these planes, they crash. The pilot might eject, they're going to crash. And we have a legitimate fear in my neighborhood that the military will crash in my neighborhood one of these days. I'll end this by asking you for three things. First, please do not solicit or encourage military bases to send aircraft to train over our neighbors. Second, initiate a noise ordinance study. And third, would you please find ways to educate pilots to show respect for our neighborhood as they fly around and over it by maybe flying a little bit higher, a little bit quieter, a little bit slower, limit reverse thrust, and above all, coming in along the neighborhood.
Up next, we have Dave Bassett.
I'll go along. In the flood, I apologize. In writing and going to get down public or directly. Bill Manager Mark Field. The last meeting, I reported that in the middle of Thanksgiving week, hangar 3029B was stripped out of its contents. U.S. Air Force owned 321 jet moved without their permission or knowledge, and other things happened. I found out subsequently to that he was reacting to instructions given by Nash Marino, who admitted to me in my face that he gave those instructions. So my question is, what benefit was that to the airport, Nash? What benefit of stripping out hangar 3029B, which was paid for, disturbing people's equipment, damaging others, destroying others? I'd like you to answer that question. Why did that benefit the airport?
You know, we're not supposed to answer questions during closed session. Like, you're more than, you should know this.
And you should be able to answer it. Thank you.
Okay. Tom Gibbons.
Good evening, board. Yeah. I don't know whether I'm off on my timing. Did I miss the agenda? Did it not come out 72 hours ahead of the meeting? It just come out right before the meeting. No, it's on Friday. Well, don't answer it. It's okay. The law requires 72 hours.
Came out on Friday.
And I just want to be able to get it. It's a real thin one, so I could read that 2 minutes, but it's, sometimes it's really full and you gotta go look things up, but. I just wasn't sure about the dog ate it or something, but I didn't get it. Anyway, that's something here. The second reason I came here tonight. You've been served, sir. That's good.
Okay.
Moving on to item number 6. Authorization for two staff members to attend Jumpstart Air Service Development Conference to be held May 15th to the 25th, 2024 in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a air service development conference, and I've provided a budget and the overall impact. I just want to point out that I have trued up the actual, I was using the budgeted amount and I trued it up to the actual expenses, and we did find more money in that travel account.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Moving on to item number 7, authorization for the president and secretary to execute the first amendment of supplemental PFAS assessment between the district and SCS engineers.
Mr. President, you recall that the board allowed you to execute an agreement with SCS for PFAS assessment. That work is ongoing. There were several elements of the work that were simply just didn't know, it involves drilling and didn't know, have to find water, they didn't know how long it's going to take, and there were some time and material costs that weren't fixed. Because of that, and the time it's been taking, they've asked that we adjust that element of the budget and allow for an additional $7,000 to ensure that they have sufficient budget to work with the contractor that is doing the drilling. Do they have to drill deeper than what they anticipated? There's so many variables. They don't know how hard it's going to be to drill. They don't know how deep they're going to have to drill. And
Where are they going?
all
All over the place.
I can show you a map if you'd like to see it, but it's throughout the airport that they're doing numerous borings and wells. So I actually spoke with the contractor today with SCS. It's going well. It's just the nature of it. We have a hard deadline of February, end of February. We have to submit. They have to submit their findings of the assessment to the water board. We have some Tartalia, we have to coordinate some survey works. Every well that they put in has to be coordinated and surveyed, and all that has to be submitted. It's a fair amount of work that's going into this, at this order that the water board has submitted. So we just need a little more budget. And I'll have more news for you in your next meeting, how things are going. I think we'll wrap it up pretty soon.
I read through the report and I make a recommendation be approved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, with that being said, we will take a quick 5 minutes and go straight to closed session.
Mr. President, before we adjourn, I spoke with Martin before, and we don't have anything for item PT. So with your permission, we'll go ahead and pull that in closed session. We'll just be discussing item 8A.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, take a little break. We're coming out of closed session with no report of actions. Moving on to item number 9, director's comments. Chuck.
I'm gonna go to those comments. I don't have anything.
My comment is, yeah, so we had that meeting with the Senator from the United States and the CTE Center, as well as the county education. And it was great. Like we set up we showed them around. We took them to Artcraft. We took them to Central Coast Jet Center, and they were just absolutely like impressed. They didn't realize what's going on. As you know, a lot of people don't like they didn't realize what's going on in the airport. And they saw fantastic opportunities. I can see the ears turning in their heads, and they're excited about continuing this conversation. So I'm very excited about that. That's my comment.
We're heading in the right direction. I applaud you, all of you. We're heading in the right direction. We got this. It's just a matter of doing what we need to do so we can make this airport great. And I think that everybody in this room is committed to that fact. So proud to be part of the group here because we're making this happen. I don't know, I guess that's all I had to say.
3 items. Number one, I am very concerned about misstatements in public records, and I'd like to have that changed in public record. And since you made an accusation, I'd like to have a backup facts for, your accusation that you made last meeting.
We recorded the meetings now, so that's great. We'll have that for you.
Then, number two, I brought up several times that I have seen no evidence, I've asked for evidence, that this policy of aircraft that are being worked on in hangars have getting punished with extra charges. And there's no evidence supplied yet that there's been one nickel, one dime, or one pfennig, or one centavo of benefit to the airport for that policy. And I recommend that we put it on the agenda and we reverse that. The last thing is, I think, more serious, called trust. I'm part of this public school board, and as you've heard in the news, a lot of school boards are in deep trouble with fighting. It resembles very much Washington, D.C. At this local high school, Joint Union High School, they have 9,000 students, almost 1,000 staff, and yet there's a very high trust among the board members. And it's developed because of the way that the meetings are prearranged and done in advance, all in public. And I'd like to make a recommendation that we adopt that policy so we can avoid some of these drama things that we have here and get them resolved in advance. And I'll be happy to have conversations with Martin and UNASH and how we're going to accomplish that, because right now the trust level is very low. It started out with the board members no longer here, tried to blackmail me in closed session. And I tried to get that resolved without going outside the airport board. It was not. It was a felony, 3-year felony, 4-year felony in closed session. And that began to break my trust among the board members. We have some good board members here now. I trust in some, but not in others. I think we need to can be a much more effective organization that would rebuild that trust. And so I'll make a volunteer to set up a meeting with Martin and show him how we do that at the school boards where we have, but despite the dynamics, high trust among the board members. Right now, trust is very low. That's my comment for the evening.
Moving on to item number 10, Jeremy, so.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, third.